Glen. If you haven't met Glen before, he's from the Swell season. Nice to meet you, sir. How are you?
Good, thanks. Having a good day.
You've come here to Australia. Is this the first time you've been to Australia to perform?
I've been here many times with my other band, The Frames. We were here 2 years ago with the Swell season. We played a few shows. I think just around the time when the film came out over here, or once came out, yeah. And it was great. It was a great time. And this trip's been, it's been brilliant, because most of the time when you're on tour, you're rolling into town. You're playing a gig, you're rolling straight out, you're playing another gig the next day, and after it, like, you do like 4 shows in a row, a day off. But usually when you've done 4 shows in a row, that day off becomes a kind of a non-event, because you're just spending it sort of recovering, from the...
How have you found the touring process thus far around? Like, have you found it quite smooth process?
Yeah, I mean, it's a life you choose, and it's a as some people say, the road is a cruel mistress. But it's a life. It's a wonderful life. But what I'm trying to say about over here, which is different, is because every city is so far from the next, you generally tend to do a gig, fly the next day, take the day off, do a gig the next day, fly the next day, take a day off. So we've been having this amazing trip where we're just going swimming, and we went, we did some tour. We went over to Waiheke Island when we were in Auckland. We went on a wine tasting thing, which was kind of a bit weird and a bit snooty. So we ended up just sort of skipping that and going to the beach. But it's been an incredible trip in that we've had time to sort of decompress every day.
I wanna stick you down in the soul. I wanna pull back the veil and find out what it is up and wrong. I wanna tear these curtains down. I wanna meet you somewhere tonight in this old tourist town.
You have this real natural rapport with your audience, and one thing I noticed with your videos, just feel so relaxed. When did you decide that you knew you wanted to be a musician and this is what you wanted to do for a career?
I saw a Bob Dylan video when I was 5 years old. My mother was a Dylan fan, so she made us all gather around the TV, and she was like, look, and it was the video for Homesick Subterranean Blues. And I didn't know it was in black and white. The TV was black and white, so I thought everything was black and white back in the old days. I saw that video, and I remember thinking to myself, that was the seed. I remember kind of going, Jesus, that's what I want to do. And then Dylan became my god, because my uncle taught me a few chords on the guitar. I learned a few Dylan songs. And then I went busking. I became a street musician, and that's really, I guess, where I learned how to sing, because when you're singing in the street, you've got to send your voice to the other side of the street, so you've got to, you got to sing up, you got to raise your head and throw it out. So I guess that's where I learned how to sing. And then with regard to a rapport with an audience, I guess that's something that I think that's probably just being Irish. I don't know if it's solely being Irish, but when you're a street musician, there's a kind of an enforced humility to everything you do, because essentially, in Irish law, busking is vagrancy, so you're begging.
Right.
So
legal street performing, kind of big, yeah, as you say.
I mean, in most countries it's illegal, but it's tolerated. And nowadays they're trying to get into this bullshit of like getting licenses, but getting a license to go play music on the street almost seems
crazy when it's your own.
Yeah, it has to be spontaneous. The nature of it is that you just sort of go, oh, I think I'll go sing a few songs, and the nature and buskers are divided into 2 groups also. You've got the busker who's very much a professional guy who goes out every day, who does 6 hours on the street or in the subway, and he needs to make X amount of money to pay his bills. And I have a lot of respect for those guys, because they're working musicians. But then there was buskers like me who were like, I just go out and have the crack, and if I felt like leaving after 20 minutes, I did. It was never about money. It was never something I did for. There was never really any end other than experience. For me, it was an education. At Christmas this year, we went back out onto Grafton Street, and I gathered up a bunch of mates of mine from Dublin, musicians, and I sent out a text to all my friends who play music, and we decided to go busking for charity. There's a homeless shelter in Dublin called Simon Community, and we decided we'd go out and we'd spend the day busking on the street and make up some money for them. And it was really great, but what really kind of made it special was, my friend Damien Rice. He came out, and Paddy Casey and Mundy and a bunch of guys I know from Ireland.
Just a bunch of people, yeah.
Well, we're all. I mean, Dublin's very small, so I guess we all know each other. But it was amazing that Bono showed up in the middle of it. He sort of showed up.
Just walking down the street.
That was amazing. But it was Christmas, so what's really interesting about an idea like that is that at Christmas everyone's at home, so there is that possibility that he'll show up. But he joined us, and we ended up busking for a couple of hours for charity and made like a huge amount of money.
And just to conclude, because I know it's a festival and you've been sort of doing all these interviews, how do you find A, Australian people and performing in Australia compared to other places, and B, what are your big gigs that are coming up, not necessarily just in Australia but also overseas as well? We're going on a world tour, so we'd like to hopefully catch you again. That would be really cool.
We take a month off, which I'm very happy about, and then we go back to the States and we do a bunch of shows. We're doing a bunch of festivals in the summer in the States, but we're doing the big one this year for us is the Hollywood Bowl, and that's going to be July, I think 18th, which is very exciting. So if you're around for that, come along.
Just to conclude, are you a photographer or what's the camera?
I take photographs. It's just a hobby.
It's not a prop, in other words.
It's not a prop.
It's a very large necklace.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Well, is your photography put anywhere else?
I've done a couple of small shows with it, but it's not something I do for any other reason than joy.
Well, it's fantastic to meet you, and all the best for the festival.
Thank you. Pleasure.